The human body, as speaking now as a biologist and as a physician, was not designed to deal with the explosion of EMF activity in the environment. It's not just in the air, but in the ground, and that's New York City, in the land, in the sea, everywhere. There's EMFs everywhere. You can't escape it. It's in the apartment buildings. The smart meters are in the apartment buildings. And this affects us. We are ultimately an electromagnetic field. Everything that happens in our body is a series of chemical reactions that are electrochemical reactions. Nerve transmission is electricity. That's how it happens. The way we survive, the way we live, the way our brain works is through electricity. The conduction of electrical impulses through nerve axons is how we live. And that's all electricity. We have an electric field around us. 20 years ago, conventional scientists would laugh, oh, we don't have an electricity. It's like they forget their first year of physiology where they talk about the electromagnetism of nerve impulses. You can measure that now. Carillion field is not just some mysticism or crazy stuff from alternative doctors. It's real. We're an electromagnetic field. And if you don't think that all this electricity, which is all new, hasn't been tested, hasn't been put through clinical double-blind studies to see whether it's safe or not, is safe, it's a big risk. And we're all taking a risk. And I live in New York City, and I'm taking a risk. But then you move out to the country, and you have cell phone towers sprouting everywhere. My friend in Holland said that in the last 10 years, they've built 10,000 cell phone towers in Holland, which is a very small country. There's nowhere to go. You go to Australia, there's cell phone towers out in the wilderness now. So it's everywhere. And there's cell phone towers in New York City. There's no question that the proliferation of EMF activity in the environment is creating havoc among patients, among healthy people who then become patients. And there's no question that it's led, I believe, or at least contributing to the increase in cancer rates. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a physician just this morning who was talking about the explosion of cancer in children. Childhood cancer is exploding exponentially, not linearly, but exponentially. Well, why is that? Well, all these kids are on the little devices. These kids, I watched my wife's nephew. He's like 8 years old. The guy's superb. He's been on a computer since he was like 3 years old. My neighbor has a 2-year-old, 3-year-old baby, child. He's on a computer. He has a little handheld computer. He's doing it. These kids know how to do it. They grow up with that. And they're on these things hours a day. I didn't grow up with that. I grew up in the old days when you took your bicycle out to the dirt. Now they have all this computer technology with all these EMFs. They're being exposed to it. And then people wonder, why are brain cancer levels increasing? Why are these rare cancers increasing in children? Of course it's increasing. Yes, it's a complicated issue. It's the increased pollution. Pollution isn't getting better. It's getting worse. The quality of the food for the average person who doesn't eat organically is not getting better. It's getting worse. GMOs are a nightmare. That didn't exist 15 years ago. GMO foods, I believe, are toxic. And then you get the whole EMF thing, which is like this hidden mystery that no one is addressing. Even people in the alternative world tend to ignore it. It's no longer enough to, eat organically and do your carrot juice and take your supplements and do your detoxification. Great, but what are you going to do about EMFs if you're living above a router that's giving you, enough electricity to send a rocket ship to the moon? It's a real serious issue. There's no question in my mind that not only are the traditional diseases increasing in incidence because of EMFs as a contributory factor. I'm not saying they're the only factor, but they're a contributory factor that's really, I believe, going to be seen to be really deadly. But it's only going to get worse. It's only getting worse, and no one wants to address it because it's so convenient and it keeps the kids active. And it's high school kids now are all on computers. I wasn't on computers when I was in high school. I didn't know what a computer was. Thank goodness.